the exception. And well, praying mantises and polar bears. The male in almost every species is the one that goes out and does the dominant of the killing and supplies the food for the rest of the family.
True.
So, which means that what it shows that even animals deal with anxiety and the pressures of life, of trying to provide for the family so that the wife and the kids can stay at home and just chill and just be all nice, and the wife doesn't have to get up to do anything.
That's fair.
Or doesn't have to rephrase that because women work hard at home, yada, yada. I get that. But yeah, no, I think that's a very big thing because, I mean, like you hear people like, I mean, I've heard this story so many times. Oh, like I wish things could be like when it was with like my parents when like my dad just worked and my mom didn't have to work. She got to stay at home and she got to raise the kids and got to do this and this and this. Yeah, that's great. And how many of these fucking fathers were raging alcoholics, hated their lives because they had all this tremendous amount of pressure on them the whole time? Nobody ever thinks of that. I mean, you don't think about that aspect of it. So, I think that's what's going to be true for the animal kingdom. If that makes sense.
I would like to know what the alcoholism statistics are amongst other species. I don't know.
But I bet you if they did drink, it would be high.
Yeah, guaranteed.
Just you'd see a lot of very drunk tigers doing some stupid shit.
Well, last year there was all the drunken raccoons. It was fucking awesome.
Oh, that was great. Reports all over Ontario for that shit.
That's so cool.
Did you know that in Canada, cell phone companies are already starting to share their data with health authorities around the world?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Cell phone companies have been taken upon themselves, and as part of the agreements that everybody clicks yes to for everything they own, they're actually taking a lot of the data that we have and stuff like our own personal text messages and things like that, and they're actually sending all this stuff out to anything that has you mentioning coronavirus, feeling sick, not feeling well, and it's all being shipped out to the health authorities around the world. This is happening in a lot of countries, and even in Canada, Justin Trudeau has not ruled out that cell phones won't be allowed to do that.
I am going to
He's
start
left it quite open for cell phones to be able to do that.
I'm going to start every telephone conversation I have from this moment on with, "Hi, coronavirus, I feel sick."
I completely agree with that.
And if the government is tracking information on shitty things people say, they got a big ass file on me. Like this show,
it ain't gonna be short.
This show should be called Eric and Gord. Holy, look at the red flags over there. Or, Eric and Gord, our phones are tapped. I don't know, something like that. Whatever. Cell phones, like, fuck, they're gonna sell our information to somebody for whatever reason. I don't care. I've said from day one, I know they're listening, and I don't care, and really they can do what they want with my information. Although I am slightly more on the grid now than I've been for many, many years, I still don't think it matters.
No. Sorry.
Only if there's enough for everybody.
Yeah. No, just for me. Again, a lot of this whole thing with this whole sharing all your information from these mobile devices, I just don't care.
No.
Give it to whoever you want. I don't give a shit.
If you do care, don't have a mobile device or don't agree to the terms and conditions.
Yeah, it's really simple. Like, you don't have to own these things. You really don't. Your life can survive without it. It'll be difficult in a sense, but
I certainly wouldn't do it, but I don't read the terms and conditions. But I'm assuming there's a whole bunch of shit in there that I don't want to agree to, but I do. So whatever, it's totally up to me. I make that choice. So do you guys. So if you don't like it, don't do it. It's that simple. So that I don't know. The sharing of information doesn't surprise me, and I don't care. Especially not from the cell phone companies. Whatever.
Yeah. I just don't care.
As I say, I'm sure in the last 2 years they have started building quite the file on me. And that's fine. I'm just glad you guys are listening. Hey, CSIS and cell phone companies, while you're listening, head over on to Apple iTunes and give us a little star rating. Or
wouldn't you laugh if all of a sudden thing comes up? You got liked by CSIS.
You're listening anyway. You might as well help us out, guys. Send an email, gwynethpaltrowsvagina@gmail.com. Just say, hey, Eric, it's Ted from CSIS, and I heard you on Tuesday, March 24th. And I will send you one of the coveted Eric and Gord pens that are coming out in, I'm going to say, the next 2 weeks. Very limited edition, very hard to get your hands on. We're not just giving these fuckers away. You got to work for them. There is also a very, very limited edition Eric and Gord postcard that's going to be available in about 2 weeks, but there's only 25 of them, and that might be all there ever is. But they are spectacular, and you guys can, I'll figure out what you can do for them. Emails go a long, long way. Voice messages on ericandgord.world are huge. If you want either of these things, the pen or the postcard, voice messages go a long, long way. Just saying. What else do we have? I have some two Gordicles. That's what I call articles for Gord. Gordicles. I've never said that before in my life. I just made that up now, and I don't think I'll say it again. That's a weird word.
I'm not complaining, though.
The first Gordicle I got was there's been constant disputes over how the surface of Mercury came to be formed, and it was thought to have been formed by the meteor shower that hit the Earth, and now they've proven that the surface of Mercury was formed like 2,000 years before that. It gets like 800 degrees in the daytime and minus 200 at night and shit. And they thought like it was just like this crazy weird planet. They've now discovered the possibility of water just below the surface and reasonable temperatures, and they're starting to believe there may have been or could possibly be life on Mercury just below the surface. So that's crazy and weird. A big shift in the opinion of the astronomical community. I don't know. They're changing their... there's always like these massive changes because we're still constantly learning. It was like, I was shocked and dismayed and a little annoyed when Pluto wasn't a planet anymore. I was like, shit, that's weird. Like, and now Pluto's not a planet. Like, that's a fucked up thing that happened in our time. And now here's another fucked up one. Like, maybe there was the possibility that Mercury might have had life on it, which changes a whole lot of opinions on things. So that I found, I always find that kind of stuff really interesting, like, because we are still learning, and sometimes we're wrong, and it's just very cool. But that's going to cause a lot of conversation anyway. I don't know if it's going to cause like controversy, but I know a lot of people don't believe it yet. So it's going to be interesting in the next little while. So that was one Gordicle. Maybe we could all go live on Mercury. The second one, somewhat related. We're getting a drill of sorts in April. An asteroid is going to pass by safely. There's no big stupid NASA number attached to this. They actually just said it's 1,280 feet wide. And it's traveling at 53,000 kilometers per hour. And in April, I didn't get the exact date, but in April, it's supposed to pass very, very close, but it's going to pass by safely. So that's like a test run, I guess. But it really caught my eye that there was no variation on the size they offered. They just said the one size. It's 1,250 or 1,280 kilometers or feet, 1,280 feet wide. So that's still big enough to fuck shit up if it hits. And that's the thing I'm thinking, because they always say these ones are going to hit and then they just miss. Maybe the one they're saying is going to just miss is the one that's going to fucking hit.
Maybe we just don't know.
Like they're always like, "Oh, this one's hitting. This one's hitting. Oh, it went right by." And then this one, they're like, "Nah, it's not going to hit." That's the one that's going to get us. I know it. Maybe that's what takes out coronavirus. Maybe next month, in the height of the coronavirus, the fucking Gourds asteroid just slams. Boom! There you go. All the people that were worried about dying from coronavirus just incinerated from the asteroid that collided with them. Ha ha! How'd that social distancing work out for you, losers? End up with an asteroid up your ass.
Oh, do you know how happy I'd be?
That would be kind of awesome, actually. If everyone's just like, okay, we're going to have to self-isolate for the rest of the year, and no one's going back to school and everything, and just boom. I didn't see that coming, did ya? How'd that toilet paper work out? So look for that in April.
This one, but I'm not. One I'm seeing that's coming by in April is called 1998 OR2. It's the biggest asteroid due to fly by Earth this year. Coming closest on April 29th, 2020. The space rock is probably at least a mile wide, 1.8 kilometers, and maybe 2.5 times that big.
I don't honestly remember where I got the story, but I will forward it to you if you like. I'll send you the Mercury one too, because there's a bunch of nonsense, bunch of gibberish that I didn't understand. Well, I didn't bother reading because it was just like, hey, there might be life on Mercury. Then it went into all this technical shit, and I was just like, blah, 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 blah.
So not going to be paying attention to this part of this.
There was a bunch of shit about black holes, and they learned something about something. And they found the edge of the Milky Way, by the way. I read that too.
I caught it. Speaking of black holes, I actually caught a video where they said this is the sound of two black holes colliding together. And it was epic because it literally had this really neat sound of just like almost like kind of the sound of whirling wind, but not really, almost like a whirling static sound. It's a very interesting sound. And then all of a sudden, as soon as they plop together, it goes bloop.
There's no sound in a vacuum. Space is a vacuum. There's no sound in space.
Which is what made the video so amazing. It is so technically sound, the way the graphics were done and the way the whole thing was written. It had all this amazing, important stuff listed all over it. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, and they get really close, and it goes bloop.
I don't know why when when you're talking about space, I'm in. I like it. I find this shit fascinating, and the more we learn, the more I like it. But for some reason,